Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the January 12th, 2026, the first meeting of the year with the Charter Review Committee. I declare that our entire committee is present. Obviously, we have a quorum, and the meeting is now open. The very first matter will be to question whether or not anybody wants to make an amendment to the 15 December 2025 meeting minutes, which I incorrectly published to the town clerk's office, saying that they had been approved. They haven't been approved. Does anybody have any modifications or changes they wish to make to that?
I didn't.
No? Okay, can I have a motion then to accept those minutes ex post facto?
So moved. Motion.
Okay, vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? They are now officially, and no amendments being made, they are as already published on the town website. Moving on. Mr. Town Administrator, may we have any of your comments, remarks, updates, old or new business, anything else that you would like to bring forth this wonderful new year?
Nope, nothing new.
Wow, that's a letdown. Mr. Goldberg, Vice Chair, and Gunga Din, anything that you would like to bring to the attention of the group at this moment before we...
No, I know that when we get to the scheduling piece, I may have a conflict for next week's schedule. Beyond that,
Okay.
nothing
Well,
else.
we'll go through 3, and then I'll jump down to 5. Paul, anything from you at this point?
No remarks.
No remarks? Chuck?
No remarks.
Okay. I do have just a quick...
How about Megan?
Yes. Megan, I asked you, didn't I?
You did, and I said no.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Oh, I didn't verbally say it, but I did say no, I'm good.
Okay.
That's all right. We take, physical symbols.
Yeah.
And when I look at you and I see you, not meaning you
yeah.
personally, but everybody, I
Anyway.
look at everybody, I see the strange look on their eye, look glaring at me. I can take that.
Yeah, no.
Sorry.
I'd rather take it that way than by words. Okay. After we adjourned, and from my recollection and my notes of our last meeting back in November,
December.
excuse me, December. Yeah, it was December. I had talked about the fact that when we had gone through the documents that we are looking at and come up with a version that we are calling acceptable for now, at least, that those documents should be made public in light of the open meeting law and the way that meeting minutes and all that sort of thing is. So with that being said, I did verify that again with some people who are in charge with enforcing the open meeting law. And that being said, I then tried to figure out how's the easiest way for this to be accomplished. And to that end, I noticed as I went back onto our Charter Review Committee website, storage, whatever, reference pages, that I see you did a fantastic job putting that together. I got the idea, and then I verified this idea being okay, that the documents that are there that are, once they've been gone through and once they are accepted, they can now be published. So, I mean, that's the way to do it. With that being said, rather than making it any more onerous than anybody else, once they are, reviewed, I will then take them off, a copy off of the, our Google Docs site, and send it over to the town clerk's office. I've had conversations with her, email correspondence, and she's more than willing to get these things put on the website so they will be available as, Charter Committee, proposed drafts, first pass, or whatever they're going to call them. if that is okay with everybody here, or anybody has any question about that or discussions on that, please, let's do that right now. Chuck, anything about that?
Works for me.
Okay. Megan?
Are you posting them as is with our edits visible?
Yes, it'll be the edited, the one that we say we
Okay.
accept it. Again, keeping
Yep.
in mind that we have an asterisk on
Yep.
that this is just the first pass.
Yep.
We want to get it out there.
That's fine.
So that people can have a time to look at things and, not have it all of a sudden we throw them, 20 articles at them.
Okay. I just want to make sure if we did any track change acceptance that we didn't lose sight of the versions.
Right.
Okay.
And it'll be a clean version because Chuck is, making the edits and he's, making the changes and that they do, once we accept them, they're, we'll adequately, if anybody wants to make any amendments or anything like that, we'll do them just like we do the minutes, and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
Gary?
Just as long as if we decide to go back in time and we make any further amendments, that they are then at least dated as to
Right.
when those new amendments are going to be made.
Okay.
Beyond that, I think that's fair to all people who are watching and fair to us as well.
Exactly. Paul?
Yeah, I think just making sure they're clearly labeled that a draft and subject to change, and just the concern that we've had as far as having our own internal drafts and which one is what. That as we go forward and start, marketing this to the public, that if anything were to
No, they're going to be, the way another municipal entity that did this kind of process, they basically, what they did, they call it the first pass. And right away, there's a little like footnote saying that subject to further change and discussion, especially upon your input. Because, one of the things that we might change is not only, I know we're going to change some of those definitions because, it's just, I think, quite frankly, going over it in some of my spare time while I was asleep, is that we maybe have too many things there.
One other thought is when we post them to the website, they'll be PDFs, right? Because we want to make sure people can't edit it.
Well, yes, I can post them as
Okay.
Word documents or PDFs or
I wouldn't
however it is.
post
The
them.
bottom line is, realistically, anybody can edit anything, even a PDF.
Well, true, but it'd be harder with a PDF.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, I would recommend to download the PDF. 'cause when you-
Okay.
It's like Save As, you can save it as
Yeah.
a PDF.
Okay.
I would recommend
Yeah.
doing that.
okay. So that's what will be done.
Yeah.
With that being said, the question is, we have the introduction, we have the preamble, we have Article 1, we have Article 2. The last one we did was definitions formally approved. Is that correct, or am I mistaken?
Well, we're on Article 3. We're halfway through it, I thought.
Yeah. So at this point in time, the two introductory, item 1 and item 2, the preamble, the introduction of the preamble, and the definitions, they are available for posting. Does everybody concur on that, or?
Yeah.
I believe so.
Okay, and then we'll see where we go with this one tonight. But I would behoove everybody, I think, like if we somehow manage to get through the legislative powers dash town meeting, then the question will be, once Chuck has, put them together on there, everybody will ask you at the next meeting, do you want to, accept this, and then is it okay to post it? That way, I'm not posting something up there that we want to change. It's what we want, at least at this point in time. Fair enough? That being said, we'll move on. Gary has already told me that the next scheduled meeting date, he has a conflict because he'll be not in the area. And I am of the opinion, and I appreciate the fact that you guys adopted it at the last meeting that I had, was able to attend. Is there any other date than, it's the 20th, if I'm not mistaken? Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm just driving back from Logan at the same time that the meeting is.
Right.
So, and absent a change in flight, I can't be here at 5:45.
Okay.
So, in theory, I could be here later that day, but that may not work for everybody else. And then just we'll just pick a different day. It could be that week or the following week, and then we just go from there. But that really is my only evening conflict that I'm aware of.
Does anybody have a thought as to whether or not we, and I don't want to put you, I mean, you're picking up your wife at the airport, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, the issue is, what if the plane's late or anything like that?
I can't control that.
Yeah, so, I mean, I firmly believe in, it's just my belief, but my wish too, to the extent that I have the right to have a wish, is just simply, I don't like the idea of not having us all here to do.
Agree.
It's just wrong. We're a small group. We work together well, I think, and,
We chose that Tuesday because Monday was not available?
right,
Martin Luther King Day.
yeah, it's a holiday.
Okay.
So, is there anybody that would be able to suggest a different date, either that week or the next week? I mean, that was going to be our third meeting of the month. Is there any other date that is convenient that we might be able to all meet together here? I mean, assuming we get the room, and that's always a question.
As of right now, I could do the 21st. You can't, so it's the 20th is the one that's off the table, yes.
Tuesday,
21st.
right?
Yeah, 21st could work.
I think I would have better luck with the 22nd.
That's fine
than
with
the
me
21st,
too.
if that's an option for that week.
Yeah.
And then I guess there's also the 26th. Did we schedule? We didn't schedule anything for that.
Should probably.
Monday.
So the 22nd is the
Thursday.
preferred date of you, Paul?
I think so. I don't have my full. We have a paper calendar at home that has all the updates, but as far as I know,
Yeah,
All
I
right.
think that works.
I think so too.
How's does the 22nd work for you, Megan?
I think so.
Yeah,
Gary?
should work.
All right. I won't book it, but if you could get back to me, just a little email.
Say let's plan on it unless
Okay.
I'll speak up if.
That was the 22nd?
Thursday, right?
Okay, because the 26th, we have a public hearing for the planning board, so the room definitely won't be available that night.
They can go
Even
in
at
a parking lot.
5:45, it's not available?
Is that,
It is at, it does look like it's at 7 o'clock, so I mean, yeah, if you wanted to squeak it in earlier on the 26th,
Yeah.
but it's up to you.
I'm physically gone from that Tuesday until the end of that week. So that would be the last day that I could do it.
22nd?
No, the 26th would be that evening. I can make it. I can't make it to any other night during the following week.
All right, well, let's, the 26th, excuse me, the 22nd, Thursday the 22nd at 5:45 seems to be available to everybody.
Yeah.
Yourself, sir?
Yeah, I can make it.
Okay, then why don't we plan on that, subject to Paul getting back to me and telling me that he can.
And the room availability.
Mr.
But it's calendar up there, the room.
Oh,
Oh, good call. Want me to check it?
Thank you, Scott.
Fire department, 6:30,
On which day?
22nd.
okay, well, then,
Could we do the library again?
well, we don't have the same librarian that gave me the room, but I guess we'll find out who.
I can talk with Kristen.
Who's the acting librarian, or?
Kristen, right now.
The children's librarian.
Okay.
Are they open on? Are they normally Thursdays?
Thursday evening they are.
evenings? Yeah.
All right, well, then we'll do it at the library. If,
And pending confirmation.
I'll assume that between you, Mr.
I'm
Town
sending the email.
Administrator, and myself, we can get Kristen to agree to that.
Okay.
All right. Moving then, anything else to discuss at this point? Beside going into where we are in legislative powers?
So just to confirm, 122 potentially at the library at 5:45, and 126 is off, correct? Because there's,
Yeah, because the 26th was, that was a date that's not available.
Well, it's 7 o'clock, so I mean, like Gary said, you can, if you just do an hour, you could do it. You just
Okay.
can't do your hour and a half that
Okay.
night.
Want to do an hour?
yeah, let's take.
And 26, okay. So the 26th, what time do you want to start?
5:45.
Yeah,
Okay, and we'll have to be done by,
The 6:45.
yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
so we can do
Perfect.
that. Give us an hour to work on things. And that's available to us? Okay, no conflict other than with the planning board.
Correct.
Do you have the power to write it in, or do I have to?
Yes, I will write that in for you right now.
So I'm taking off the tentative from this event then? So barring,
Yeah, the 22nd and the 26th will be. the next two
22nd is
meetings.
tentative based on the library, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
22nd will be at the library, and the 26th will be here for an hour, starting at 5:45. All right. Very good. We've approved the minutes. Okay. One of the things that I believe I volunteered to do was to make an addendum, and I did pass that out, and Chuck put it out there. Has everybody had a chance to look at the addendum to the legislative powers town meeting draft that we were discussing? There are some things in there that basically you guys brought out and needed clarification, and here we go. So has everybody had a chance to see and digest the addendum?
I was a little bit confused as to what it was and where we are.
Okay.
So I'm hesitant to say yes.
Agree. I wasn't sure how it fit.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, basically, as if you have the addendum with you, what I basically said is, we were working on the one meeting about what I had basically had exercise of legislative powers, but legislative powers are more than the town meeting, and there's an Article 3A, or I was going to put it in here, but it relates just basically, it'll be a shorter one, talks about, which will talk about what are the legislative powers. The town meeting is the mechanism, it is the legislative power, but there are some things that the town has a right to do and must do by the town meeting law, and that's, gets away from the check-in requirement and what the general powers are and all that stuff. So I had taken and rewritten the section 3.1, I think, from what was there. And the reason I did that is because the first paragraph that's in my addendum, as opposed to it basically just takes out the open to all, what did I do? I made a change. Anyway, is there a difference?
So what we had originally approved, that's up on the screen now,
Okay.
and we talked about, you're looking to revise?
Well, is there any revision to what? I don't think there is a revision.
so it started with, as provided in this charter, the legislative powers of the town shall be vested in town meetings.
Yeah.
You're saying that paragraph will be replaced by the new paragraph?
Yeah, the registered, verified, and qualified. Because we had some discussions about open to all registered town voters or Paxton voters. And then we had, well, what if they're registered? Remember, I mentioned that, they may be registered, but they not be eligible for town meeting because they hadn't been eligible, they hadn't registered right away, or, had the time period that was involved. So I guess what I'm saying is, right now we have two versions of Section 3.1. The one that we were working on and moved on from, I believe, and then, but I've made a suggestion of a change, which says the registered, verified, and qualified town meeting voters present at any open town meeting is the Paxton legislative body with the power to exercise all town powers and perform duty and obligations opposed.
I like our original with the edits only because it's really clear how we define who the voters are, and it matches our glossary.
Well, You mean what's up there now?
Yeah, because you
See, but
introduced a couple other language like verified and qualified, so I guess.
But see, it doesn't, because
Okay.
that suggests that the town meeting is open to all registered town voters. And that's not the only qualification. The qualification is that you must be, A, registered. Beyond that, you must be also verified, meaning you have to be on the voters' Board of Registrars list. And for that to happen, you have to also have been qualified, which means that you had you were registered for the appropriate period of time. So you can't go, say there's a town meeting tonight. Somebody can't walk into the Board of Registrars of Voters and say, I'm a registered voter, and look at it and they say, well, you're not on the list. Well, that means you can't vote. All right? So you have to be registered, qualified, and you have to be verified. Did I say that twice? Registered, verified, and qualified. All right? You can be a registered voter, but you've moved and you haven't changed your residence, so you're living in Holden. You're no longer qualified to be a registered voter. So by adding those 3 words instead of 1 word, we make, as provided in this charter, blah, 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 open to all registered town voters is not an accurate statement. Because it's not necessarily that you can be a registered voter who is not eligible to vote. I mean, open. And all
So
those.
what if we just changed the first sentence? Vested in town meetings open to all registered, verified, and qualified town voters, and keep that sentence. The rest-
That's what I did. That's what
the rest are the same.
That's the addendum. The addendum says the registered, verified, and qualified town meeting voters present at any open town meeting is the Paxton legislative body, blah, blah, blah. So it's the registered, verified, and qualified town meeting voters present.
Right, but you added other language. All I'm suggesting is that you take what we had originally approved, and in that second line where it says open to all registered, verified, and qualified town voters, and keep the rest of it the same.
Right. And then I think if we could have, the definition of verified and qualified in the glossary, or again, I'm still not 100% clear on
Verified
where that's
means that,
coming
you know
from.
how when you walk into the town meeting and they ask you for your license? And they make sure your name's on the roll? That's being verified.
So that happens when they get there, then.
So somebody could walk in, say that 2 days before the town meeting, you registered to vote. Okay?
But didn't we already put in a window where it has to be by a certain
Right, the
time?
10 days.
It's in the definition of
I
registered
think we're
voter.
confusing, we're making it,
Well, registered, verified, and qualified. Okay, registered, we know what that is. Verified, we know what that is. So the only thing that's questioned at this point is qualified.
no, but verified, so they're not verified, right, until they walk up to the table?
Right.
And what is the qualified?
Qualified means that
How is
you,
that different than registered?
because you may be registered, you may be verified, but you've moved out of town. You are no longer a resident and you're supposed, but there's.
Wouldn't that come out in the verification? If
No,
we're-
not necessarily, because unless you notify, all right, you have to, because one of the questions that they ask you is this your current address? No, I live on Main Street in Holden. Then you're not qualified. You may be registered and you may be verified, but no, since you live out of town, you're no longer registered in Paxton. Your registration will de facto, and you're supposed to change that by giving notice, but how many people do? The reason I can tell you that become obvious to me is because in one of the articles that my wife was working on, she came across this thing inactive voters, which is a legal term. I had to look it up on the Secretary of State's documentation website. And basically what that kind of voter is somebody who has moved out of town but did not change, or they didn't vote in so many elections that you became an inactive voter. And then all of a sudden you become active. Well, it's not just you can't just walk in at the table and say, I want to be activated. That's just, you have to go to the town clerk before being verified. So by saying that qualified, it now just basically lists, as the Secretary of State's documentation says, to be qualified as a voter, you must be A, B, C, D, and that's what, or A, B, C, that's what these are.
But if somebody moves out of town, they're no longer a town voter, right? I feel like by our addendum, by our definition.
Yeah, well, just suppose your neighbor, your former neighbor doesn't want something to happen. They don't want the MBTA thing to go. So even though you've moved out of town, you come in and you vote, and claim to be a voter, but you're not.
That could happen no matter what we have on this, though.
No, because they'll ask you, where do you live? When you make a statement to a public official, it's under the pains and penalty of perjury. So if you say to them, I live in Holden, okay, then you're not eligible to vote. They say bye-bye. You may be still registered in Paxton because they haven't yet notified somebody. I mean, it's up
But
to
then
you.
you're not a town voter. I feel like we're just building, like then we have to say, oh, they have to be alive. Like that bad example, but right, like it's, I don't know, I feel like.
All right, so you want to allow, here's the situation if we don't put qualified, okay? They're going to be registered and they're going to be verified. But they don't have to be.
I say we don't even have verified. We just have all registered town voters.
I think we define it clearly in the glossary, that they have to be verified and qualified. I think we put those in there, didn't we, in the
Yeah.
glossary?
That's a great place for it in the glossary. because
Parameters of what-
That's where this isn't actually, that's additional information as opposed to the actual content of.
Because you can't be verified until you get there, right? So
Right, and you can't vote until you've been verified.
We just run the risk of needing to put those three qualifiers in every single registered town voters section. Unless
There's only one registered town voter section, that's town meeting.
well, I don't know.
Right, we're to be determined, I guess.
Yeah.
But I would be in favor of putting that in the glossary,
Putting what in the glossary?
if the
Verified.
verified and qualified.
Agree.
But the glossary says what the definition is. It doesn't say that in order to vote at to come to a town meeting and vote, that's in Article 3. It's not in the definitions.
I think I'm missing something. Because if they're all right, we said you have to be a registered town voter.
No, you
Then
have
they
to
get
be a
there when we verify they're a town voter. That's
How are you
Right.
going to verify that?
It's protocol.
that's protocol by asking by checking it on the list.
But if they look at the list and say, I am registered, I am verified, I live in Holden. Well, you didn't tell me I have to live in Paxton to be.
We did in our identity. To be a town voter, you have to live in the town, right?
There's no such thing as town voter. It's not a word. It's a registered town voter. And you're not eligible to be registered if you live out of town. And the way you find out whether if they're registered out of town is to ask them, is this your current address?
Right.
Why do they ask you your address?
I'm not saying we don't ask for the address, but I'm saying
but what happens-
to load it all in here is
So
just
what happens if you say, again, whatever you want to do, but if what you say is, I am living in Holden.
then you're basically saying I'm not a registered town voter anymore.
No, I'm still a registered town voter. I just haven't taken my name off the rolls. I haven't notified anyone.
Right, but once you move out of town, you're no longer a registered town voter.
And how does the town know that?
When you tell them.
Yeah, but it doesn't say up there that
I'm
it's...
lost in the semantics, right?
No,
So
no.
once you move out of town, you're no longer a resident of the town.
No, you're not resident, yes, but you're still a registered voter. Chuck, suppose you move to Holden,
Yeah.
and you never tell Laurie that you moved to Holden.
Right.
Are you a registered Paxton voter? Yes. Unless you do something affirmatively.
Can we go back to our language for a second?
Yeah, I've just pulled it out. I think we have it covered simply in the definition. Because we put specific, we were worried about that when we
Yeah.
talked about it last time. put up what we finally approved, if you want, but
For the
Yeah.
registered voter
for
definition.
registered voters.
Yeah, please.
Glossary.
Yeah, and I think we're covered, simply by the term we're using. I don't think we made any edits.
Oh, I forgot about,
I may have, but
wondering why it wasn't getting big.
this will clear it up. It's just good for consistency, right?
Yeah. Paxton residents.
Oh, I don't see it.
Uh-oh, it's back now.
Oh, no. Don't call the cable communications. People,
The old unplug, replug. That's
When in doubt, right?
high tech.
There it is.
So it's right
Okay.
here.
Paxton residents who are both legally registered to vote in the town and whose names appear in the official roll of registered voters maintained by the town clerk.
okay, where does it say that you are verified?
The town clerk.
Where does it say that
Don't
that's
they
the
bring it, the town
that's-
clerk, and in their binder, they have the official record when people show up? Don't they own that as part of their job?
That's what they'll, yeah.
Yeah.
But if you register 9 days instead
Mm-hmm.
of 10 days, you're not eligible.
Right.
But you're still a registered voter. So
But
does that cover this?
According to us, you wouldn't be in the official role of maintained by the town clerk.
But
So
there's
at that
other
point,
reasons you
they
might
wouldn't be
not
allowed to
in the
vote.
official role either, as well. You won't be, you will be in the, if you move out of town,
Mm-hmm.
all right, and you don't tell the town that you're leaving, you can vote here forever.
Not legally.
Well, yeah.
So,
Who's going to
We
enforce
can't,
that?
We can't put every
right,
law.
but what if somebody lies?
You have to show your ID, right?
All right,
I get
all right.
Your ID couldn't have.
All I'm telling you is, okay, we can debate this out infinitum, but what do you want to do? You want to leave it the way it is? Regardless of what the recommendation is of the state, because if this was a state election, there'd be two different things. Right, you'd have a different definition of who can vote in a state election versus voting at a town meeting. All
Can we
right?
put it in the
And
glossary?
state law will control. All right? So what will happen then is, if you come to vote at a Paxton, say an election for a select board, or election for a congressman, all right, and you are not a town voter, meaning you're not in the town, you're not living in the town, but you are still registered in the town, all right, and you still have it on your driver's license, or whatever documentation you provide, then you're not eligible to vote for the position in the election. So the town meeting and the state election requirements have to be consistent.
You're not eligible to participate in town meeting either, though. What's the what's?
How are you going to know? That's what I'm telling you. If somebody comes there, all right,
So we have to put in. This is how we know. We're saying you have to be a Paxton resident and a
no,
registered
you just
voter.
use the word verify as the law.
Can we put it in the glossary? Can we just add verified to our definition of registered voter in the glossary and call it? Does that not
Okay, but
address it?
again, keep in mind that the definition of registered voter, if you think it's covered in here, all that is defines what a registered voter is.
right, but why can't we add, if we wanted to add a definition of called verified voter or registered voter in the glossary, if we wanted to add another definition, what stops us from doing that?
We can, but it's still the qualification for who can be at a town meeting. That says nothing about town meeting. It just says what a registered voter is. And the voter was saying that you have to be, the proposal is you have to be registered, verified, qualified, and present. Those are the four things. You can't vote by telephone at the town meeting. Okay?
So we have to add present as well. Is that what you're saying?
It's right there. Yeah, that's what it says in
In the what?
section 3.1 of the addendum.
Present.
Registered, verified, and qualified town meeting voters present at any open town meeting is the Paxton legislative body with the power to exercise those things. Again, That's all. You want to leave it the way it is? Do you want to make that change? The change is adding basically the word verified.
I think once you, to me, this is my concern. If we over-explain things, then in another spot, someone could say, well, you didn't say over here that they had to be there, or you didn't say over here that they had to be verified, or it had to be
Where else would they have to
confirmed.
be verified at a town meeting? We're only talking about town meeting.
Right,
We're not talking
but-
about attending.
Well, it could come up in elected officials. We haven't gotten there yet.
I'm sorry?
It could come up under elected officials. We haven't gotten that far
I've
yet.
written the elected officials is already written. I can tell you it's not in there.
Well, I would assume it would be if we have to vote for them.
No, but you're not talking about voting for them. You're talking about elected officials with qualifications to run for election.
Okay.
That's something different. Again, if this is, I mean, you guys are looking at it from a better perspective than I am, because I'm looking at it, lawyers do not try to hope that things don't happen. They put words in there so that they think the worst is going to happen, even though it's statistically very low. All right? However, I'm suggesting this will solve a problem that may never occur. On the other hand, there seems to be an awful lot going on about, election fraud.
Yeah, I think our issue is more hung up on the fact that we haven't defined verified and qualified, but we have defined registered.
Okay.
That's the issue. In the glossary, we did define what that meant. So
Okay.
I think we would just want to be careful that in the glossary then, we add verified and qualified to say this, when you're verified, it means this. When you're qualified, it means this, which we didn't do.
Okay.
That's it. Otherwise, it's left to interpretation what those two words mean, because we haven't defined them.
Well, they're kind of, I understand what you're saying, but they're words of art. I mean,
We thought that with registered too, and we had a whole debate on that.
yeah. I mean, the problem with anything,
Technically, all registered voters should be verified and qualified, correct?
not necessarily, they should be.
They should be.
Well, again, this
Actually, it
this kind of goes back to the bigger picture of, when we were thinking about this, we were instructed this isn't a legal document. We're not all supposed to be lawyers on this team. We're supposed to think of it from a common citizen and, from a plain language perspective. And so that's this perspective I think we're coming at. And so,
But-
and that's the perspective we're representing. And so that's, when we see verified and qualified and additional things, it just looks like additional legalese, makes it less functional and usable for the average person.
Paul.
And that's why I think you're getting the pushback. And I think the other reason for the pushback is that we've already I thought we settled this, and so then when we reintroduce, amendments to things that have already been settled, it's just, we go back and we're spinning our wheels again, and it's
Well, we just
an
got through
efficiency.
talking about that these were settled, these were things that were settled for the point. The point that I'm making, first of all, we are making a legal document. And if you don't have things in a legal document that define the requirements, then you may have somebody that doesn't meet the requirements saying, yeah, but you didn't tell me I had to be a resident of the town. All right? Again, let's just leave it, and we won't do anything with the suggested addendum, if that's the way you want to take it. But I can assure you that, there is a basis for that being there. If you don't want it to be there, and you want to look at it, I'm talking about perspective, but keep in mind when you make that perspective is that if words are terms of art, the words that are out there are registered, verified, qualified, and present. If your opinion or decision is that registered, verified, and qualified, if that's what you think is okay, that's what I'm suggesting, then we're fine. And if you want to define verified and qualified, we could simply just say, voters who meet the requirements in, section such and such and such of Massachusetts general laws are eligible to vote, or may vote, or are subject to, exercising the town powers. The whole point of doing it this way, they got a fire or something? The reason doing it this way is so that we don't send people to the statutes. So what would you like to do with it? You want to pass on that? I mean, it's probably more time than it's worth at this point, but what would you like to do?
I would like to pass on it.
Pass? We have a pass.
Yeah.
Paul, pass?
I'm okay with passing.
Gary?
Pass.
Okay, we will pass on addendum. Sections 3.2, 3.3, and 3.4 were as discussed. Section 3.5, voting methods. Now, we had, this is a note, and this is where I had my notes say that we were in the process of talking about this. So I don't believe that this was decided upon. But there was some questions about, how this is going to work, yay or nay, anything like that. So I rewrote it as is in the addendum. So let's take a look at the two of them, decide if you want to merge them, which one we want to work on.
Let's see if I can get them side by side.
Yeah, I don't know how easy
I
that is.
actually thought that 3-5 we had already gone through.
I did too.
And we were stuck on a different section.
Okay. In section 3.5, as we talked about, what happens about a supermajority vote? If there's a supermajority required. It's not in there. When can the town meeting voters require it to be a secret vote? And when can the town moderator declare a unanimous vote by observation? That's all not in there. It's in the addendum. Those are scenarios which you see happen at almost every town meeting when the town moderator says, I declare a unanimous vote count by observation. We all look at him and say, well, yeah, okay, but it wasn't unanimous. I voted. I didn't want it. I voted no. I said nay, and everybody else said yay. Where does it say that the town moderator can do that? In section 3.5 as originally proposed. It does say that in, when can a person in the town meeting, when the town moderator declares that the vote passes, 7 voters by law can get up and say, no, we question that. I want to have, instead of a declared vote, I want it to be a counted vote. I want everybody to stand up that said yes and all that sort of thing. Those are not in section 3.5 as originally presented to you. Section 3.5, town meeting voting, takes those things in there. It also talks more about electronic voting and when it must be done by electronic voting.
Wait, so you said, so the article, you're proposing we change the title of the article, right? From voting methods to town meeting voting.
Yeah, and I'll add these sections. All those things I just
Add them,
mentioned.
or do they replace anything?
They don't replace anything because there's nothing there for them to replace. It's just all word. I'm suggesting that we take section 3.5 as is and just basically either merge it in there or whatever, or not. The easiest thing to do is just take section 3.5 in the addendum and, work on it. Do you want to work?
Oh, wait, so you're proposing the current 3.5 moves to 3.6?
No, I'm proposing that we take section 3.5 and make it this instead of what it is. And then after that,
Wait, hold on. I'm lost. So currently, it's section 3.5 voting methods and section 3.6 town meeting types.
yeah, town meeting.
In
type.
your revision, section 3.5 is town meeting voting. Section 3.6 is town meeting voting methods.
No.
I'm looking at your revisions. That's what.
Here's what it says right here. This is the order, this is what's done, this is what the scenario is,
So where's the next page of that?
right here. His original,
Right, so that's what I'm talking about.
right, voting methods is, this is 3.5,
Wait, so that's the original.
right, and this is the new one.
So that's the new one.
So this
But-
goes away, and then 3.6 stays. I'm modifying 3.6, or modifying 3.7.
Wait, so I am looking at the revisions that you sent, the addendum to Article 3, legislative powers. So you have a 3.5. Then you have a 3.6, town meeting voting methods.
Yeah, that's now become,
So you rewrote, all right, so you rewrote 3.5 and named it 3.6? I'm just trying to establish how this impacts.
3.6 is town meeting types, annual and special town meetings. Town meeting types is not town meeting voting, it's a type of town meeting. There's one that you must have, and it must establish the budget before June 30th. Special town meetings are things that the select board can call them at any time, and 200 townspeople, or 20% of the registered voters, can require to be.
Wait, so I'm really confused.
You're looking at 3.6,
So right now I'm looking at the addendum and revisions that you sent out.
which has nothing to do with 3.6. Has nothing to do with town meeting types.
It does, you're right, because you have a new 3.6 in here called town meeting voting methods. And then you have a 3.7, electric voting provisions.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at what you said.
Okay.
You said, do you have something different printed, or is that?
No, this is what I'm proposing right now. We're talking about 3-5, okay? Once we get through 3.5, we'll move to 3.6. 3.6 is town meeting voting methods. 3.7 is provisions for electronic voting. Okay? So what I'm saying
But
is,
that doesn't match with what we currently have.
but we haven't,
Well, and just for the record, we did, my notes, we had made it to section 3-8 as of the last meeting, and that's what was in the minutes.
Okay.
So just for the record.
okay.
And
So
sounds like the addendum wants to
Okay,
change
so
what we agreed on.
the addendum is taking, right now, if you're, and we don't have the benefit of those meeting minutes because we haven't done them yet, but if you're saying that we have
Well, we
completely
approved.
decided Article 3,
No?
No,
I'm not saying that.
I
You're
just said we
saying-
had worked through 3-8 as
right.
of the last meeting.
but I'm saying that we worked through 3.8 without considering the additional doc items that are in 3.5 and 3.6. We have town meeting voting methods, all right? That's in 3.5. In the proposed change it, I mean, we're talking about 3.6 town meeting voting methods, all right? You'll note that there are A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and in the one that we've already passed over, according to that, we have A, B, C, D. So we seem to be missing some. We have nothing in there about electronic voting. And you will see that electronic voting is becoming the state is looking at it as becoming a requirement, the preferred method. All right, so the bottom line is, if we don't put something about electronic in there and about requirements, provisions, and stipulations and that sort of thing, what I've added in here comes from a state model for what that's being considered for legislation. So we may have gone from 3.5 to 3.8. I'm not going there yet. I'm still talking about my 3.5, if you will. They're both my 3.5s, but I'm saying that the original one I gave you out there and we talked about is not sufficient. So what do you want to do with that? Paul says we're on 3.8. I'm saying we're back, I suggest you go back to 3.5.
I mean, no, he's saying we went through.
I'm
3.8.
just
But
reflecting
now you're
as a-
proposing new 3.5, 3.6, 3.7s, and 3.8s, which is fine, but I'm just trying to figure out how to pull it in. Am I replacing? Am I?
Well, we're talking about it right now.
Right.
So let's take a look at, and this is what we talked about 3.1. I say 3.2, 3.3, and 3.4 are the same. Now I'm suggesting a new town meeting voting section.
Okay.
All right? So would you like to do that, or have we married what we talked about last time? Now, my notes say that our discussions of Article 3 were insufficient, and that's why I went out and I pulled this stuff out of other places.
We did have that, we needed to update, add the voter challenge. We had left that unresolved last time, that piece about the.
Is the one that you have up on the screen our current version?
Yes, this is
Yeah.
the version we discussed.
Well-
If you scroll down to where we're at 3.8 for a second. All right, so the problem that we had back here was that it indicated that the town meeting voters, basically, I raised the concern about they're empowered to establish, amend, revise, or appeal any rule, and I believe at that point in time that seemed to trump the powers of the moderator. And that's where we kind of got stuck, and that's where we ended it. And the language that I thought that we could work with would indicate that the town meeting voters, and you put a comma after that, under the parameters set by the town moderator, shall be empowered to. And that way, then, the town moderator is setting the tone as to here is what you can do. You can't overrule me because I'm setting the rules. You can't just say we're going to ignore the town moderator now. You got to go by what the rules were.
Gary, but that's not true. The town meeting voters, and we're getting to 3.8. I'm still talking about I still would appreciate talking about 3.5. But the town moderator does not set the rules. The town meeting sets the rules. The town meeting can say the town moderator shall do nothing. Sit up there and we'll have somebody come up. The town moderator is not an official that has the power to tell you unless, and keep in mind, it's just like the same thing here. If the town moderator says, this measure passes, his word is not final. 7 voters can get up and stand up. They have to do it before the next action. It's kind of like, before you got to do it before the replay judge gets a chance to do you got to. So the town moderator says, wait a minute, 7 people have risen here. We now have to move to, I suggest we do it to an open, standing ballot or whatever. That has to happen. The town moderator cannot overrule 7 people who want a recount. The town moderator has the powers to manage and run the town meeting subject to the authority of the town meeting voters. The town meeting voters it's like being in a legislative, keep in mind, this is a legislative session. The moderator is like the Speaker of the House. The voters can, and there are rules. The rules say that the Speaker of the House, has to act this way and has to take this and it's the same thing in the town meeting. The town meeting voters are the ones. We may have a bylaw in there, and the town meeting voters can get up and say, we want to rescind that bylaw. They have the power to do that. That's why town meeting is the big engine that drives any sort of municipal government. They're the ones that say whether or not the appropriations pass or fail.
I'm not denying what they decide. I'm raising the question about the procedural piece, knowing in fact that you have under section 3.9 that the town moderator presides that over all annual and special meetings shall regulate all proceedings, decide all questions of order, and publicly declare the results of all votes. It's just contradictory to me to some extent that you're saying, this is what this person does, but look now here, the person really doesn't do that.
But I don't see that, Gary. The discussion is, all right, town meeting voters shall be empowered to establish, amend, revise, or appeal any rules, regulations, or procedures governing the conduct of all annual or special town meetings. The statute that defines what the town moderator does says he presides over and regulates the meetings. That's got nothing to do with amending, revising, or establishing a rule, regulation, or procedure. He decides questions of order. Okay, you're out of order, you can't talk. It's 10 minutes and you've gone 15 minutes.
Isn't that the same as the conduct of the meeting?
Yeah, that's what regulating the meeting means. These are two different things. This is what the
Exactly.
town voted. These are the powers of the town meeting. These are the moderator's powers.
But I think your issue is we're saying in that first paragraph that the town voters get to do that.
The voters
strip.
appoint the power
They
to.
could strip the moderator.
They could strip the
Exactly.
moderator of any and all of his powers.
Yes.
They're giving them the power, and they can take it away. But
That's kind of like the way it is, yeah.
unless they take it away, they're saying that this moderator has the power to regulate us and to.
No, there's no doubt that the powers under Chapter 9, Section 39, Section 15 gives the power. Remember, the town moderator, legislative, all right, the town moderator has powers that are given to him by statute, right? Without getting into,
I don't think we disagree on that.
no, I guess the whole point is this. Town meeting voters have legislative powers. They're basically budgetary. They're basically how to conduct their meeting. The town moderator, using a book which is not law, it's a guidebook, regulates the meeting according to that. But the townspeople at a town meeting can say, throw away Robert's Rules of Order. We don't want you to use that. We want you to do this. And they can do that, and they can make it a rule and regulation for the town meeting. All we're saying here is, under the state law, this is something that, because again, this is the state law which supersedes municipal law, all right? The town moderator or his, apprentice or whatever, presides over, that means he calls the meeting to order, he adjourns it, he takes, recess, he presides over the meeting, he regulates the proceedings. I'm going to allow anybody to speak, but you have to have 5 minutes. If you go over 5 minutes, I can cut you off because we can't, that's within the power of the, he can decide questions of order. If a person gets up there, well, I want to move to amend this. You can't amend it, sir. It's something that has already gone through the process. The process of amending that is something that you have to file in writing and it has to give it time. I rule that you're out of order, all right? If the town meeting voters don't like that, then they have to, modify the town meeting rules. But they will fail because regulating the procedure and deciding questions of order are given to the town moderator. That's his power. And then the other thing is, he has to declare all votes. I declare this vote passed. I declare this vote failed. I have to follow the move the question, that type of thing. He regulates the meeting. He manages the proceedings. But that he doesn't tell the town meeting how to vote. He doesn't tell the town meeting that they can't amend or establish, revise, or appeal a special rules
Didn't you just
regulation.
say that? You said that would fail because the town moderator has to do that.
I'm sorry, what?
Didn't you just say something to the effect of they could try to do this, but they would fail because the town moderator has?
If it didn't follow the right process.
State law says
Yeah.
the town moderation.
But then if I'm a town resident and I read that paragraph,
Which paragraph?
by
First
this
one.
charter, town meeting voters shall be empowered to establish, amend, revise, or repeal any rules, regulations, or procedures
Right.
governing the conduct of all annual special town meetings. I'm going to walk into that meeting thinking I can change that.
You can.
You could usurp the town
But you,
moderator.
but you
and
just
No, you
said
can't.
that would fail because that's under the rules of the town moderator.
No. Town meeting voters have the power to establish a rule. There is no rule in this. Chapter 39, Section 15 is a state law. It is not a rule. A rule is like boys must go out this door, like when I was going to school, and girls have to go out that.
So you wouldn't consider that a rule or regulation?
No, this is not a rule and not a regulation. It is a state law. Hierarchy. You have ordinances, all right? They apply only to the...
Aren't laws rules and regulations?
No, laws are laws. Laws are different. You want to put up the...
But do you see, if somebody is reading that paragraph, they think they're going to be able to come in and challenge the
well,
laws.
good, and let them do that, and they're told, no, you can't do that. You do not have the power to tell the moderator not to regulate the town meeting.
Except we just said they do.
We gave it to them in this
We did.
paragraph.
In that
didn't.
Yes, we did. In that paragraph, the way that's our problem. In that paragraph, the way it's written, we've given them the right to do that.
No, you don't. You give them the ability to take a bylaw.
Dave, step back for a second.
Yeah.
Read that line again, and from the perspective of somebody walking in off the street to the town meeting. And
This
read
is
that
the
line
only
again.
document
It's
I
almost
have.
absolute. It almost says you can do anything.
Where? What?
If people are going to read that paragraph, I can walk into that town meeting and do anything.
No, I don't see how it said that.
So hold on. So by this charter, town meeting voters shall be empowered to establish, amend, revise, or appeal any rules, regulations, or procedures governing the conduct of all annual or special town meetings.
Right.
That's pretty big.
Yep. It is true.
That reads laws to me. That they're going to think, oh, laws. Laws determine how.
Well,
we
you know,
regulate this.
just because they think a law means a rule, they're two different words and they mean two different things. Legally, a law is different than a rule.
But
If it
we're
was
writing this
No,
for
I'm
the
not.
common person. And it's going to be so confusing to them.
All right, so what are we going to say?
But that's the concern Gary raised, is that it seems like we're usurping the power of the town moderator. People are going to read it.
Well, that's why Section 3.5 says what the law says, and 3.8 says what the authority is.
3-5.
3-5 in the Legislative Powers Town Meeting Proposed Draft Addendum says what the role of the moderator shall be pursuant to the law. It also says that under Massachusetts General Law 3915 and by the charter, which is adopting that, if 7 or more town meetings voters immediately stand to question the moderator's declared vote, a vote shall be made by the election tellers. All right. Over here it says, I want to have a law that says town meetings must start at 7 o'clock. And somebody else may say, I want it to be 8 o'clock. There's no state law that says what time
But
it is.
you don't read that paragraph, you don't see our concerns?
But I do, but what the heck do you want to do? We don't have lawyers out there. That's why lawyers make these laws, and you have have you guys looked at the handbook to town meetings? And it explains what the difference is between a law and a rule. People don't think that the state is making a law when they say that the police department shall have 20 men, which is what town meeting can do. There is no law. It only applies to Paxton, and it's a town bylaw. All right?
You know what, I really believe, one, we're in quicksand right now, we're going nowhere. I apologize. Number two, that if this were to be read by people going into the town meeting, and they think that 7 of us can do something and overrule, kick out the moderator, or do whatever, that's what it feels like, and no one at that meeting is gonna say you can't, because here's what the charter says. So we're gonna suspend that meeting and say, well, let's get an interpretation from who?
Gary, this is like chapter such and such, 9017 says you can't go at a speed that's greater than that's unreasonable and improper. All right? Somebody might say, well, I don't think that's unreasonable to go 75 miles per hour in a 35 mile per hour zone. This is the statute. Town meeting cannot change the statute. The statute says this. The statute says that 7 people can do this. This is not something that's just we're putting in a charter. This is something that the law says. If you don't put it in here, and I have 7 people stand up, the moderator has to comply with this. If he doesn't, all right, then he is violating a state law and is subject to impeachment or recall if you prefer. There is no doubt whether or not the town moderator must do what the town meeting tells him to do in these areas. Why? Because those are the powers of the town meeting. Those are the legislative powers. The town moderator is not a legislature, he's a manager.
I understand what you're saying.
So why do you
I'm
say
not-
that
I'm
if they
not
say...
I'm not in agreement that the language that we have is clear enough for us to say that we're ready to move forward and adopt this. That's all I'm telling you.
Okay, but I'm talking about section 3.5 and you're at 3.8. Can we get through 3.5 and then talk about 3.8 when we get to that after going through 3.5?
Well,
Which
which
version of
3.5?
3.5.
The
Does anybody
amendment
have
or the original?
any doubts that by Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 39, Section 15, the moderator shall, A, preside over and regulate the proceedings, B, decide all questions of order, and C, make public declaration of all votes? Any issues with that?
Yeah, it's different than our 3.5 that we voted and approved.
Okay.
Well, it is. It's completely different. If we're trying to merge these pieces about the moderator.
What's up there right now says by Massachusetts
Yeah,
General
that's-
Laws,
but
right?
that's your
This is
addendum.
the revision.
That's
Yeah.
your revision.
Okay, what's the original say? Yeah, I have it right here.
The original
It's
says,
this. It's the voting.
well, it's a different title. And
Yeah, that's.
It's a different, yes.
so,
Yeah.
but you're saying, I'm sorry, back to me, we get rid of this 3.5, or does this get pushed down? Or
Voting
is this
methods.
replaced by one of the other sections that you did?
Okay.
Let me pull a new 3.5 into this.
If you look at 3.5 this is a new section. And 3.5 in the old section becomes 3.6 because it talks about how a voice vote works, how a show of hands works, how a standing vote works, and how a clicker works. All right?
So you're saying this would become 3.6?
Well, not until we get through 3.5, because right now 3.5 is voting methods. 3.5 doesn't become 3.6 unless we accept 3.5. And that's what we're talking about.
Right, yeah, but if I was just for the sake of, this is all for the sake of discussion, right? We're just trying to figure out what you're proposing here.
I'm proposing we establish what the rules of the moderator are.
First.
And that's in
Before we go
response
into
to
voting methods.
Gary's legitimate concern. And when we get to 3.8, I think we will make revisions to it. But Gary mentioned again today, and it's in my notes, that Gary said it seems like the town meeting can do something and we don't establish what the town moderator can do. What I'm doing here is establishing what the town moderator can do or must do in accordance with Massachusetts General Laws 39, Section 15.
I just wasn't sure if your revision belonged under our 3.8.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
I just wasn't sure if it made more sense for your addendum language, really, is our current 3.8? And do we just cut and paste and revise what we have in?
But they're not, it's not. 3.8 talks about the powers of the town meeting voters, assuming that they're verified.
Our current 3.8 has to do with the moderator.
No, our 3.8 has town meeting authority. The moderator is not the town meeting. Moderator is a manager.
Okay.
You don't have to, town meeting, most of the time, meeting, wait a second. Town moderators don't have to be residents of the town of Paxton. All right? Town meeting people vote. The town moderator can vote if he's a resident of Paxton
Yeah.
and if he's verified and all that, but he doesn't have to vote, and he's not required to vote, just like anybody in the town. But the town moderator can't vote on whether or not he's going to announce the results of findings. Section 3.5, because there was, what does the town moderator do? That's why it's got the first section, A, B, and C.
Chuck, what's C there? Scroll down a little bit. Okay.
Some votes of a town meeting don't pass if they have a simple majority, which is 50% plus one. All right, so since 50 voters, if you have 50 voters make a vote, right? That's a supermajority because it's 100%. But if you have 150 voters and it requires a supermajority, well, it's a big difference.
I feel like A and B should be switched here.
Where? Which A and B?
A, if 7 or more town meeting voters immediately stand. I feel like that should be under town meeting votes requiring a simple majority. Because that's a mechanism if people don't agree with the moderator. Do you know what I mean? It's a simple thing.
Okay, no,
right?
no, no.
Like,
I don't think I'm following you, Chuck.
so
You
by
wanna
this
move
chart.
You want to move this?
Yes, I want to move that.
Totally revise it.
That to B and that to A. Because that only comes into effect if they
No,
disagree
this-
with this.
Of this entire
No,
section.
this can, if they come, they,
I think that was
this is,
part
this
of that
follows,
confusion.
this is,
Yeah,
this is,
totally.
Thought we had.
If a- if the- if a-
We did.
Because
Yeah.
some votes require a
that's
simple
That's the
majority.
confusion, it
Yeah,
really
that
is.
is
Some
the ultimate.
votes require two-thirds
That's the
majority.
basis.
Right. Some votes require a, I don't know, supermajority, which is like everybody but one.
Right.
All right, 4/5, 9/10, okay? But in every one of those cases, if 7 or more voters do not agree with the moderator's declaration,
No, I understand that, but I'm saying
You just don't want to lead with the,
you want to lead with the moderator's declaration.
not
Then
with
you're going to
the,
say, oh, if you don't agree with it.
not how to undermine them
This is what
to start.
happens.
but that's what it says. If 7 or
I'm
more,
just saying we can change the order.
Formatting.
but then what are we gonna, we got a simple majority, then we have to put supermajority, and then we have to put the 2/3 up there. I mean, where are we gonna put it?
It goes after, then it would go,
D.
it would become D in that chain of events.
What would become D?
The A. So you
Yeah.
have B becomes A, C becomes B, D becomes C, and then A becomes
Okay.
D.
And you should basically make D.
So you wanna take.
Simple
let me see.
majority, 2/3, then supermajority.
Yeah.
So you go.
I see. So you want to say, by this charter, or per Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 3915, you want to say, town meeting votes requiring a supermajority, simple majority may be declared by the moderator based upon observation. The moderator may also declare a unanimous vote by observation. Then C, so you want to make A, B to A, C to B, D to C, and then make A
To D.
down here.
Yes.
Okay. I buy that. I understand. Sorry, I was so thick-headed on that one.
So it's just doing it, right? So we're just moving A to D, right? Is that the?
Yeah, we'll make A's D and then we're not talking about the first three ABCs, we're talking about the second.
Yes.
All right.
Does that do it? Did I mess something up?
Now, when you get through with that, I'm going to ask you about E. You know, it's really
Wait,
it's really tough when you're talking about orders and rules and statutes and everything like that, but they all have their different role.
what, okay.
Megan, you look a little.
Well, only because in here, on our ABC, we mix in voting methods in here, although we already established in our original review what those voting methods were. So some
But we
in here,
haven't.
you're saying some are counted by observation, and the 2/3, there's a secret ballot either by paper or electronic.
Yeah.
Does this now replace our approved voting methods in that other original document?
Not if you want to. This is talking about whether or not. What
Why would we
this gives the
do different voting methods based
No.
on the amount of people in the room?
Megan, I think you're looking at it two different ways. 3.5 has to do with the moderator's powers.
Okay.
All right? The moderator can declare by observation, this vote passes. I mean, and moderator can say, take a vote, all those in favor say aye. Now, when there's electronic voting, there's no issue here, but when the moderator says, all those in favor say aye, yay, all those in favor say nay, nay, I declare that the ayes have it, it passes. At that point in time, 7 people can challenge that. No, Mr. Moderator, I don't believe it. And if 7 people challenge it, the question is, are there 7 people challenging it? Are they voters? Are they verified? And if they are, then the moderator must then take back and a vote must be, a per head vote in one of the various matters. Those are in another section, voting methods. This is how the town moderator deals with it.
Can you scroll down to D, please? Hang on a second.
Where's D?
No, hang on, just give me a second. So it says, see, upon a 2/3 vote of the town meeting voters present, the moderator shall conduct a secret ballot by either a paper or electronic method.
Yep. It can't
So-
be vote, it can't be vote, it can't be oral.
Right.
It's a statute.
It's secret, right? So no one has to know who's voting how, in what way.
Right.
So let's assume that we don't have any kind of device that will record that. So what is the moderator supposed to do at that point in time? Hand out a piece of paper to every single person in the room?
Yeah. Or have them stand and have them count it.
Yeah, but that's not.
But that's not secret.
You're not. The moderator shall conduct a secret ballot.
He's voting.
I gotta go. It says that the moderator shall conduct a secret ballot by using a paper or electronic method. Here's a paper method. Gary, what do you vote? You vote nay, you write down on your piece of paper, and then you fold it up, and then the teller comes and takes it away. It doesn't have your name on it. It goes up to the clerk. The clerk goes, that's a nay. Where's Johnson?
No, we got that, but then you threw in standing, and we're just establishing standing's not secret.
So,
sorry.
so if those 2/3 vote, then we stop the voting on that particular agenda item, and the town clerk or the registrar hands out papers to every single person in the room, and they're going to say yay or nay.
Does this change your voting methods as it stands today?
No, it doesn't. This is what the law says. This law has been in effect for many, many years.
We definitely have contingency plans, but I will check to see what we have available as far as writing down.
If it's any help, I can tell you that I have personally, in a Paxton town meeting, voted by paper. This had to do with the authority of the town to put senior housing at the Klingley property. All right? That required, because there was so much controversy, a written vote, a ballot. All right? And all that it does, it's a secret ballot. Nobody knows what Gary voted. Gary can tell me he voted yay and really voted nay. The town clerk will take the piece of paper. It's just like the same thing that you go electronically when you go and you vote on any question.
But A and C are both 2/3.
So is C,
No.
is that odd?
A is 7 voters.
No.
No, we switched to A and D, remember?
Okay.
A is town meeting voters requiring a simple majority or a 2/3 majority may be declared. The
Yeah.
moderator may declare unanimous vote
By observation.
But you also say as C, upon a 2/3 vote, which is the same thing.
Which is different.
This is a vehicle to request a 2/3 vote. So, to request a secret ballot. So let's say.
Wait a minute,
we're-
there's no
Should
secret
that be
ballot in-
indented because it's like a objection? It's not.
Different procedure.
No, these.
So I think the goal of C
Okay.
is to provide a vehicle. So when we were at the zoning, remember we were at the zoning meeting? That was kind of scary, right? Like if you were voting against the mob, like my wife said, I'm glad we have the electronic voters vote so they don't know that we're voting for this
Yeah,
when it's very
yeah.
unpopular, right? So this, and I think this is your goal, right? To give a vehicle to say, hey, let's do a secret ballot.
Yeah.
And this, the secret ballot is the 2/3. But why is it 2/3? Is that determined by?
That's by law. Again, this is by this charter or Massachusetts General Law 3915. Town meeting votes requiring a simple majority or a 2/3 majority may be declared by the moderator.
Yeah, we're fine with that.
Okay?
Yeah.
Well, you have to be because it's a statute.
Well, yeah.
You don't get to say I don't like it
So who?
unless you want to go to the legislature and get them to change it.
Who requests the secret ballot? The moderator requests
Well,
it?
there's nothing about a secret ballot in A.
No, we're talking about C.
I'm talking about C.
Okay. The moderator may also declare a unanimous vote count by observation. Those are two different votes. The moderator can say, if this bill, and there aren't that many of them, but if something requires a 2/3 vote, all right, he can declare, by hearing, by anything that's other than one of these tabulations, the moderator can say, I declare this to be passed by a simple majority. I declare it to be passed by a 2/3 majority. Those are two different types of results. And I may also declare a unanimous vote by observation. All right? So the town moderator in 3 circumstances can say, I declare this passes by unanimous, by a 2/3 majority, or by a simple majority. Okay, those are 3 different things. They can't all happen on one item because you can't be 1, 2,
So
or
who's
3.
suggesting the secret ballot?
I'm not talking about secret ballot.
I think all of us are on the same page with what you're saying.
Yeah, I think we all agree with that.
We're just concerned about the secret ballot.
Yeah, I'm intrigued by C because I think it's important that we have a vehicle for a secret ballot.
Well, we do. We have. The
Right.
statute has it.
Right. So, but I'm going to say. in
So
the
all it
resident-
takes, no matter what the requirement is, it's a simple majority, a 2/3 majority, or a supermajority, 2/3 of the town meeting voters present. Take 99 voters there, all right? How many is 2/3 of 99? 66, I think. All right? If 66 voters say, I want a secret ballot, then they get it.
But how does that happen? So does somebody say, hey, can we do a vote for a secret ballot? Or does the moderator? So I think we should clarify-
Here's how it would look on television. Mr. Moderator, I rise. Yes, Mr. Johnson, what would you like to say? Sir, I request that I require, under the law of Chapter 39, Section 15, and I would do that only because as a lawyer I would love to get up and pontificate. But I suggest that there are 2/3 of people here, because of the nature of this vote, I would like to have a secret ballot. This is before the vote has happened. This is on we're going to have this thing about the MBTA Act.
Yeah.
I don't want to have my wife, my daughter, my son be labeled based upon them how I want.
So how do you vote the 2/3? Is that secret? Or do
No,
you know who's
you're
going
not voting.
against it?
No, it's not secret to ask for a secret ballot.
Well, no, I'm asking the 2/3.
That's why
The
our,
two-thirds of
take
those
that?
people, they're not voting on it. They're not voting on the question. They're voting on
So if you request it, it automatically goes through.
No, you have to have a count. You have to have a
Of
vote.
2/3.
Yes.
Right. And how is
guess
that
what?
conducted?
Guess what? That can't be done by acclamation. That has to be done by 2/3 stand up. I want it.
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
But there's no such thing as a secret ballot. The secret ballot's on the question. The secret ballot's not on how you're going to vote.
Okay. So then I would know that Chuck
word is ballot.
probably going against it because he voted against or for a secret ballot.
So this is what I'm proposing. I'm proposing we put a line in front of C saying a town meeting voter can request a vote for a secret ballot.
Yes.
Does that
You
actually?
can- yes.
Upon a
Yes,
2/3 vote of the town meeting voters present, the moderator shall conduct a
Any,
secret
how
ballot.
about if you do it
Yes.
this way?
Yes.
Any
like that.
town
Thank you.
meeting member
Doesn't belong
may
in there.
may rise and request that a secret ballot be conducted on the question before the meeting. And the moderator will thumb through his Roberts if he's not sure about it, and he'll say, okay, that requires a 2/3 vote. Do I have a second on that motion?
Wait, so-
Yes, I do. Okay, everybody, how many people would like to have a secret ballot? Please stand. And he looks and he goes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, determines the 2/3, and then so after Article 8, it goes back to being normal, or it's secret ballot for the rest of the day.
No.
Just on that
for
question.
one
Just that
item.
one question.
It's a
Yeah,
motion
okay.
relating to Article 6.
Yeah. Okay.
Doesn't apply to Article 3, which was already passed, or Article 15, which we don't know what's going to happen because it's in the future. No.
Okay.
So what's the correct wording for that then? What should I have for the wording?
Well, if you
Well, I
want,
think what you said makes sense. Town meeting voter can request a vote for a secret ballot on a
Any.
pending question.
A
Yeah.
pending question.
right.
but does that C now belong under the Mass General laws for what the moderator
Yes,
can do?
because it is a mass general law.
Okay. I just didn't know if it belonged under town voting methods, that we put that as a
Well, you're
caveat.
talking about town meeting vote. A secret ballot can only be conducted one way. It's got to be by a polling and a non-verbal, non-attributable, so it's either electronic voting method or a paper method. There's no way you can have a stand or raise your
Yeah,
hands and
no,
have
I
it
get
be a
that.
secret ballot.
But it has to
I
be
just-
2/3. I would like to see that be a simple majority.
No, I can't change the law. Go to the legislature,
So,
file a petition,
I
you
would
know.
ask the administrator that when we meet again, if you're present,
Yeah.
can you reassure me at least, if not us, that if there's a secret ballot called
Yeah.
and there's no clickers that are present, how do they plan on doing it?
There's
Yes.
only one other way. That's
I
acceptable.
want to make sure that we have.
Well, then
the-
look at Chapter 39,
No,
Section 15.
I'm not.
We do have a lot in place in case we don't have the clickers, so I will get exactly what we're able to do.
Well, what I'm concerned with is that I wouldn't want the town meeting to come to a standstill for a half hour while we try and find out how we're going to end up doing this, and it throws everything off. I want to make sure that we have the plans in place if in fact that this is how it's going to read.
Because we did that even for the last one in case the clickers failed us. We also have a contingency plan.
Okay.
So,
So
That's
we
fine.
basically need pens. We want to make sure there's pens or papers. So we're
Yes,
not spending a half hour
exactly.
looking for
Yeah.
100
You guys
Yeah,
do
we'll make-
realize that there is a state law that says how you determine a secret ballot.
You just told us.
Yeah, so now you want to know what happens if the clickers fail.
No, I want to make sure that.
A, B,
that we're good.
this is not,
I got
I
it.
mean, you have it, you don't have it, the state has it.
yes.
You guys may sit down and say, yeah, well, if the clickers fail, what if we don't have clickers?
No, exactly.
Right, that's
All
the
right,
question. Do we
and
have
the
to say
secret
whoever
ballot has
says?
been around since the 1776.
This isn't a question of law. This is a question of
Practicality.
We just want to make sure that there's
How to
pens and
do it.
papers there if we need pens and papers there. That's all.
A person, does a person have to raise their right hand or their left hand if there's, I mean.
That's-
now you-
No, I thought that was a valid question.
Way in
That's
the
chapter
weeds.
42,
good point.
section 10.
I would like to highlight it's, we're past 90 minutes.
Okay.
Of our meeting time and just,
I feel like we got nowhere on that one.
All right. So what do
we
you,
got progress on.
We actually
Still
went backwards.
Not sure
We were
about
at
this
3 in.
section
yeah.
at
we're-
all.
All right, so where are
We
we?
did go backwards.
Can we just finish section 3.5?
I don't know.
Or you want to just close now and come back and do this?
I feel,
I missed this part.
I want to make sure what we had previously is somewhere in here. Like,
So we're working through
let's
that.
do, because I like what
we're
we had
still
before.
trying to marry the,
Yeah.
and without, I'm finding it difficult knowing what's in the other amendments and how that impacts the current
Yeah.
version without,
Yeah.
really sitting down.
Okay, but I got it. You keep saying like we already passed. We haven't passed everything.
Yeah,
we
we did.
discussed this element here, and now there's a proposal to reopen discussion on that,
Well,
which
you
is something that
rewrote
you
the
all
section
want to
that
have.
we
I mean,
reviewed.
when we're talking about sending stuff out to the town clerk, we wanted to have a mechanism that this isn't, well, that's what we're doing. We haven't all said, hey, this is Article 7, we've discussed it, we've debated, we've deliberated,
We did.
understand it, this is our product. We haven't done that yet to Article, whatever the.
Yes, we did.
But, Dave, I would ask
We
you,
did that through 3-7.
because where we are, because we
All right.
ended up with 3 or
All right,
4
forget it.
drafts.
Forget it. What
Yeah.
I'm gonna
And seeing,
No, no,
seeing
no,
this,
no.
I can
That's
see how
not-
that happens.
No.
So now it's confusing because we have several 3.5, several 3.6, and several 3.7.
Yes.
So we're trying to work through it. We're just trying to work through it. But I can see how we get to like 3 or 4 drafts. Like,
We only have one draft. We have the draft that I wrote. We have the proposals to amend the draft that I wrote. That's all. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. You have the, I have given you guys the charter that Gary and Steve sent out saying that this is what they wanted. All right? And I have given you up to this point the charter articles that I proposed. All right? And I will no longer give you any more chart. You guys just write them up as you want. The next one is whatever you want it to be.
That's not what we're saying.
Because I don't want to do this.
No, you did do that, and we went through it thoughtfully at the last meeting.
Right, so go through it thoughtfully.
But
We
you
haven't
changed it between that meeting and today.
And I changed it because of, as I said, people were confusing 3.8, and I said that to begin with. 3.8, okay, we need to work at that, but we're not at 3.8. There's 3.5, there's 3.6,
Right.
3.7. You're talking about the way to vote, and that's the clickers, and that's the
Yes.
raising a hand. That's
That's
not
what you
we're-
gave us.
But we're talking about voters. We're talking about the town meeting, the town manager's requirements.
I
under
get that
statute.
completely, but that wasn't
So it's
how
got
it was
nothing to
written.
do, the town manager, the town moderator can choose from any one of these.
I get that, but you rewrote what you already gave us to.
Is that okay?
Well, that's the
You
confusion.
rewrite the things that I already did.
No, but that's our confusion, is we went through that thoroughly as you gave it to us, and today, you gave us something
No,
brand
not
new.
today, I sent this out the other day for you guys. This is not the first time you're seeing this.
We sat in the library and went through sections 3.5, 3.6, 3.7, and 3.8. And we gave our.
Does that mean that we can't make any changes to it?
No, but that's why we're trying to understand this new addendum is different, and we want to understand how do we merge the two so we keep what we did before because we liked pieces of it. Where does
part
it
of
fit
3.
in the new one?
Again, like I say, why don't you write out, taking what I gave you, what you've already approved and everything like that, and then we'll come back and talk about whatever you put up on the board. All right, because realistically speaking, you're talking about we change this. Yes. Why are we fighting about changing it? That's the whole point. We're creating something that we can change. We're creating something that has to go to the AG's office and will ultimately be.
Yeah, I get all that. I get that.
All right, so the bottom line is, this thing is going to be changed, whatever we do, all right? And I don't know what's going to be, but I have some insight to it. We are in a position of putting something together that can be kicked right to say, no, this just doesn't, or we can be just little small things. What we're trying to do now, it was mentioned today and then, and poor Gary is sitting here because he started the point with 3.8. We have not decided anything on Article 3. We have said we have a preference for this, but then we got to the point that was raised again today and before, that, well, what does the town moderator do and what can't he do? Well, what can't he do is a list of a lot of things, but let's just get to the point of saying, what can he do? And this is what I did. In 3.5, instead of talking about, you know, standing up and waving your hand on, I said, let's talk about the town moderator. And in fact, this was going to be, all of this was going to be put together, but we decided to make it town meeting. There are other legislative exercises of legislative power, and I mentioned that in the beginning. Those other things are going to relate to what can the town meeting do? What legislative powers do they have? All right? What must they do? It's like this, you know, on any appropriation of over $75,000, there's something different that they have to do than if it was $7,500. So all I'm saying is we have to get, from my perspective, we have to get over the perspective of saying, well, this changes 3.5. Yes, it does, because it puts things that weren't in there. We're not talking about creating a letter or changing a word. And with all due respect, I think we get bogged down in some things. Do we want to talk about 3.5? Yes. Do we want to talk about secret ballots? We certainly can. Now we want to talk about how a secret ballot's done. Well, there's really only two ways. There was only one way until they invented electronic clickers. And, you know, we don't know we're worried about what if we put in there verified in there, but then if we have secret ballot, I don't hear anybody saying we got to put what a secret ballot definition is. I mean, it's pretty obvious. So I'm at a loss. What's obviously happening is that what I put out there is not getting us anywhere because we're still mired on this. So I suggest just put what you want on this and then we can go through it. But let's decide that we're not going to make any changes to this other than minor modifications. All right? Fair enough? Does everybody understand what I'm
I
suggesting?
have absolutely no idea of what you just said.
What I said is
So-
I'm not going to make any proposals, and I'm not going to submit any proposed articles. I'm just going to be responsive to them because, you know, you guys know more what you want to have as a, you know.
So you have taken from the very beginning now, we have taken away what we had originally tried to draft back months ago. We've gone with your redraft because you've done this now over the course of many months. You've given us different versions. We've put aside all of what we did before. We're focused on what you are trying to get done for us as the drafter, and we're trying to make sure we understand it and clean it up along the way. So it's a finished product. The problem that we had for today is simply that what we thought we had approved, you wanted to change. And that did not come across clearly to us. It was confusing to us, and that's how and why we got to where we are today. But for you to abdicate that responsibility going forward,
No, abdicators.
none of us are going to draft this article.
Well, you're saying that in such a way as I agree with you. But what I'm saying to this is, I sent this out. In fact, I sent it out to you back in December.
You sent it out after the last meeting
Right.
that we had.
So, and that's in response to we had gone through some of this. I don't think we reached closure on any of it.
And
But-
that's where the confusion lies, because I think the rest of
Yeah.
us thought we had gone through each section 3-1 up
Yeah.
through 3-8 and felt like we had closure, with the exception of a
So we
small
had
point of
closure.
clarification.
So therefore, Gary said this morning and opened it up again, and the reason why I sent this to you was for you guys to decide and talk about it. In follow-up to our December 15th discussions of my original Article 3, please consider the attached addendum revisions to said document. Yes, it's pretty clear. Now, I guess the only way we deal with that is we say, okay, I sent out something, can we vote on whether or not we're going to review the attached addendum of revisions? I mean, that's kind of what we said. If everybody's problem is that we went through something and we decided on it, fine, it's locked in stone. I will vote against it if I find that if I see that there's some,
Yeah.
problems, and then it'll go
Yeah.
wherever.
I'm not disagreeing your addendums weren't worth it. They are.
Well, they may not
Just-
be,
It's that,
but they certainly are
They-
wasting time.
it's that they were different. And so we don't want to lose sight of what we approved and reviewed, because that was good too. So where does that now fit? That was no longer in the new addendum. And so we have.
The addendum was not a whole, I wasn't replacing everything, it was just making a modification to what was it?
No, it's completely different. Am I going crazy?
Yeah. It wasn't, this wasn't replacing.
How do we move forward? What is our next step?
I don't know.
think we've
You guys
rehashed-
decide,
I think
let me
we've
know.
rehashed.
Really, you guys decide and let me know what you want to do, because I thought by putting an addendum that had a section 3.1 would be pretty clear that we were doing that. It didn't say anything about blowing anything else away. In fact, it said that we were keeping these two sections that were before it. I mean, the nature of sending out an addendum says, I want to change something that exists. Okay? If I sent you something as an original copy, it wouldn't be an addendum, it would be a proposal. If I send you an addendum, it would be something, let's take a look at this again and talk about maybe changing what was the proposal. None of this stuff is raised. I can guarantee you that there will be changes made. I mean, the select board will say, we don't want to put that in there. So we got to come up, what I'm at right now is, we got to come up with a way that we can spend 90 minutes productively, but we're going home right now without having Article 3. And to your point, you feel at least that Article 3 has been undone more than it's been done.
Yes.
Well, I'm sorry, that's the addendum. If you want to have a vote on whether or not we're going to consider addendum, we'll do that. But that means I don't want to do addendums anymore, because it's ridiculous for me to present an addendum and have somebody say, no, I don't want to consider it. Then why should I do an addendum?
Well, then it opens up the entire charter. And I feel like once we start down this path, we're going to look back and all of a sudden get rewrites of Article 2. And we'll have to go back and refit them in. That's all. If we had edits to the way it was structured, you originally structured it, that's different. But these two did not match. They were two separate charter wordings.
No, there was no section.
But we can review what, Chuck, you're doing over there, because I was watching what you were doing. And I was following along.
Discussion, right? Like,
Yeah,
and then
it's-
bumping, so it's bumped some down.
Yep,
So I was trying to renumber those.
yep.
Well, anyway, be it as it may, so why don't you decide, look at the other ones, and everybody let me know if those are okay, and I'll send them to the town clerk, and then what do you want to do next meeting?
Well, there's nothing in Article 3 that I feel comfortable that we're ready to move forward with now. If Chuck, if you have the ability, if you take the addendum, we'll call it, and line it up with the current version that we have talked about, and then either highlight it or do something right in line, and then we can read it as we're going along as to what's normally going to be included and what should be. That may help us a little bit just to clean this piece up so we can move on to something else.
Beautiful. I think I did that just
That's
now.
what I was looking.
And I apologize. I should have done that before the.
No, it wasn't clear. I'm sorry.
Because I was having my trouble wrapping my mind around where it fit in.
Yeah.
It's pulled in, gets pushed down. And,
But that, again, I didn't think it was time to discuss that till we got through, I mean, we were looking at a particular section, and then we were talking about a section that was 3 steps ahead of us. Were we going to keep that? Yes, we are, and we're going to revise that one. Why are we revising this? Because nowhere does it say what constraints there are on the town moderator, because at one point in time, it was brought up that this looks like the town meeting can do everything. Well, let's put down what the town meeting can do, and let's identify more what the town moderator must do upon request, and then let's leave everything else to the rest of 3915 and, whatever. I don't know.
It makes sense. It makes sense what you did. I think it took me a while to wrap my mind around it and see how it fit in. I'm glad that we put in as a vehicle for a secret ballot. There's some good changes in there.
But just keep in mind that this stuff is not something we're putting in. This is something we're letting the people know about because they don't know about. Nobody in town will tell you how many, if you ask them the question, how many people does it take to tell the moderator that we have to have he can't, we're not accepting his declaration that this passes unanimously. All right? It's been law for a long time. It's written law. The town has to follow that. If the town doesn't follow it, but what happens if people don't even know they have that right?
Yeah, so it was good. Yeah, I'm glad to see that's included.
Right? And the same thing about the moderator. We brought up the fact that the moderator was not fully, his powers and responsibilities were not identified.
So truthfully, what would have been easier for, I think, us is that if you had in your new addendum put them into the sections that we already had approved, and it just would have read better as opposed to replacing it. That's all. That's what threw me off.
What, when I had a 3.1 and an addendum?
So well, 3.5 is not the same 3. It's just off. Mm-hmm. So now that we know what's there, I think that we're able to look at it in a little different way. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's what we focus on the next time we meet.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to respond because it's just not worth it.
You don't have to.
I just find it, what did you think I put it out there for you to do? To confuse you?
I said to you at the very beginning, it was confusing.
Yeah. And I still ask you never mind, an addendum or a review or a change, 3.1, the original 3.1 and the new 3.1, I feel like I'm beating myself up. I wrote 3.1 and I wrote 3.1. I'm saying my mind, 3.1 here, the new 3.1 is better than the old 3.1. Why? Because we are putting in new things and we're moving what's in the 3.1 down. But, I didn't say anything about getting rid of everything. This is going to be, Article 3 is this. We've blown everything else out. Yeah. Anyway.
Motion. I make a motion
to dismiss. Or whatever.
1 second.
I will second the motion.
And the motion carried.
Aye.
Good night, folks.
Good night.